Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at this, the SwitchBot Curtain, which is a fully wireless device that according to SwitchBot will attach to almost any curtain in just a matter of minutes, and a battery life of up to 8 months from a single charge. But with some bold claims, how do these stack up in the real world? Automated curtains are one of those smart home products that I've always wanted in my house, but never been able to successfully get around to doing, even after a number of failed DIY attempts. And that's because there are a number of challenges associated with automating your curtains. So when SwitchBot reached out and asked if I wanted to check out their new SwitchBot curtains, I was like, hell yeah. Full transparency as always, these units were provided by SwitchBot. Let's get into some of the specs of the SwitchBot Curtain. They are these fairly small and compact units that clamp down onto your existing rod or rail and have a center rubberized wheel that when it spins is used to drive it along the curtain track and open or close your curtains. They are totally wireless in operation and are controlled over Bluetooth using the SwitchBot app on your smartphone. They feature Alexa, Google Home and Siri integrations, as well as SmartThings and IFT, if for some reason you're still using that train wreck. However, you need a SwitchBot Hub Mini in order to unlock that functionality, which we will talk a little bit about later on. They can also work with a single curtain or a double curtain if you buy 2 units and sync them together. They come in at £65 to £72 each, depending on your curtain type, and they are available in black or white. Inside the box you'll find the quick start guide, the SwitchBot main unit, the included USB Type-C cable for charging, and some clips for depending on what type of curtain you have. Taking a closer look at the SwitchBot itself, you'll find a fairly small and compact yet sturdy design. On one side of the SwitchBot you'll find a USB Type-C port for charging, really good to see them go USB Type-C here, and you'll also find a single button which is used for the pairing process. There is also a tiny hole which is actually for a light sensor, and this will allow you to open or close the curtains depending on the light level. Then on the left and right hand side you'll notice these little modules which SwitchBot calls hooks. These hooks are what actually attaches onto the curtain rail or pole. When you buy the SwitchBot curtain, you'll actually need to specify what type of curtain you have, a rod, a U-rail or an I-rail. But because of the SwitchBot's clever little design, in theory you could actually change the type of curtain you're using in the future just by switching out the hooks. I say in theory because SwitchBot isn't actually selling the individual hooks at this moment, but I do hope that they start to sell them because I love this modular type design and I think it makes sense for them to leverage it. The unit I have here is for the rod or pole style of curtain, and I don't actually have one of these, but if you have an extendable pole type curtain, it will apparently handle that step up or step down in the rod. After downloading the SwitchBot app, you simply follow the app through to install your SwitchBot curtain. First, you'll need to pair the first SwitchBot by holding down the button on the back for 2 seconds until the light flashes. Then you can install the SwitchBot onto your curtain pole, and SwitchBot has text and video guides available for every single type of pole and even curtain styles within that pole. This is a really nice touch. For the curtain pole style with grommets, which is what I have, adjust the top hat to the highest position and then flick out the clips on each side of the hooks and then push them up into the slots. These help to let you know when you've tightened the ratchet down far enough. Then place the SwitchBot over the pole in between the pleats of your curtains and press down on the hooks equally at each side. You'll need to use quite a bit of pressure. Once tightened down enough, the clips will jump out of the hooks and you can release. Once installed, the SwitchBot is pretty much invisible from the inside. I'm a big fan of this design as opposed to some others that you can visibly see. The app will then ask if you have a single or a double curtain, and if you choose double, it will ask you to install the second SwitchBot. Once both are installed, you can then start the calibration process, which will have you move each of the curtains to the fully opened and then fully closed position. This process appears to be time-based rather than the SwitchBot detecting when it has hit a hard stop. It would be good if in the future versions they could figure out how to make the SwitchBot detect when it has hit the start and the end points. The time-based isn't a bad way to do it, it's just there is a little room for improvement here. Once calibrated, that's pretty much all there is to the setup and installation, which is freaking awesome. It's really easy and I don't think anybody will have any problems with the installation. Great job. Inside the app you have a few different options for controlling your curtains. You obviously have all of the manual controls available to you, and you can toggle these as you wish. You can open and close the curtains and set the position from 0 to 100 or anywhere in between. You can recalibrate the curtains from here, and you can also set the performance or silent mode, which we'll talk later on about, and you can also set the modes of operation. You can create schedules which allows you to open or close them on different times or different days, and you can even control how much you want to open or close them instead of just fully opened or fully closed. There is also timer mode, which allows you to open or close the curtains after a certain amount of time. And finally, there is light sensing mode, which allows you to open or close the curtains depending on how much light there is in the room, using that little light sensor on the back. I really think this is a good option, and it was a smart move to include that light sensor on the unit. As of a recent update while I was making this video, if you have a double curtain, you can now individually control just one curtain. For example, if you only want to open one side, which is pretty useful for some situations. In terms of power and strength, SwitchBot has two modes of operation: performance mode and silent mode. Performance mode will give you the quickest opening time and the most power at the sacrifice of some noise. They do have quite a bit of power, and SwitchBot claims they can push up to 8 kilograms. Unfortunately, I have no way of testing this myself, however they do seem to pack quite a bit of punch for their size. They can be a little bit noisy during operation when in performance mode, however this isn't something that annoys me personally because I have them in my living room and not my bedroom, but this might be something to consider depending on your placement. The good thing is that they have silent mode, which reduces the speed and therefore the noise and torque of the SwitchBots during operation. However, if your curtains aren't too difficult to open, then you should get away with using silent mode. Because the power is reduced in silent mode, I wasn't actually able to get it to work for me, but that is because my curtains are thick blackout curtains and they do drag on the ground a little bit and they are pretty heavy. So I'm not going to place any of the blame on the SwitchBot here because they are actually quite hard to move by hand. In silent mode, the SwitchBot would get halfway across and then it would start to fail and not be able to move any further, and that's just because the curtains are too heavy. Another feature I really liked is called Touch and Go, which is where you manually open the curtain by hand a little bit and the SwitchBot will automatically kick in and complete the action for you. Really handy for if you don't have your phone on you or for someone who doesn't have the app installed. Now let's talk a little bit about battery life. SwitchBot is claiming up to 8 months from a single charge depending on your usage. Obviously, if you're opening and closing them dozens of times per day, you're probably going to get much less than that. However, based on my usage so far, they're actually lasting really well. I've probably opened and closed them about 60 times so far, and I haven't seen any noticeable dip in battery percentage. I haven't had to charge mine yet. Mine are still sitting at 80%, which is what they came out of the box at. However, going from 0 to 100 apparently takes a few hours, which I definitely think is more than acceptable given the amount of time the battery is going to last you. If you are, however, worried about the battery life, SwitchBot actually sells a solar panel attachment, which clips right onto the back of the SwitchBot and charges using the USB-C port through this clever little cabling system. If your SwitchBot is a little higher above the window, then you can actually hang the solar panel down and stick it to the curtain. The solar panel also has a light sensor on it so that your solar panel isn't covering the SwitchBot's light sensor. I haven't actually been able to get my SwitchBots to charge using the solar panel yet because the light level needs to be above level 5. However, I do live in Scotland and it's currently the middle of winter, and so the days are really short and the nights are long and it's always dark and gloomy here. However, I don't think there'll be any issue in a few weeks and months as the days get longer. Also, to be honest, I could probably do with placing my solar panels a little bit better for the optimum results. Speaking of battery life, one of the ways they're able to get such great battery life is because there is no Wi-Fi inside of the SwitchBot curtains. Wi-Fi is known to be very power hungry, and I think the choice to go for Bluetooth low energy instead of Wi-Fi was a smart one. So to get that additional functionality such as Google Home or ALEXA, you'll need to pick up a SwitchBot Hub Mini for £29, and it's essentially a powered Bluetooth hub that has Wi-Fi on it, and this will kind of bridge your SwitchBot curtains from Bluetooth into Wi-Fi. It will also enable remote access to your curtains from outside of your network. However, the SwitchBot Hub Mini isn't just for the SwitchBot curtains, it will work with any of the Bluetooth devices that SwitchBot makes. And it also adds the ability to learn and control your existing infrared devices, such as your TV or air conditioning unit. The good news is that the hub isn't required in all cases. SwitchBot has actually created some open source Python libraries and APIs that will allow you to interface with your SwitchBot devices locally using any machine that has Bluetooth, such as a Raspberry Pi. You see where I'm going with this. After adding a cheap Bluetooth adapter to my PowerEdge server and passing that through into my Home Assistant VM, I was able to control the curtains using an integration for hacks designed specifically for these curtains, all done without using the hub. Basically, if you want to use these curtains as a standalone device and you want to use the SwitchBot app for control and you need the ALEXA or Google Home integrations, then you might consider the SwitchBot Hub Mini. However, if you have some other hardware lying about, then it's entirely possible you might get away without it. I really appreciate SwitchBot's approach to making their code open source and allowing you to interface with their devices locally, and I have to give props for that here. One thing they could improve on with regards to the hub is the ability to control the devices through the hub using Wi-Fi, which I think is a missed opportunity. For example, using the APIs, I want to be able to control the curtains via the hub as a gateway, meaning that you could integrate these straight into Home Assistant using Wi-Fi and therefore not needing any Bluetooth. It doesn't seem to be possible to do this yet, but I do know that they are continually adding functionality, so I hope this is top of their priority list. Overall, I was really impressed with the SwitchBot and how it performs. They've clearly put a lot of thought into the design to make it modular with different types of curtains and also to keep it hidden and out of sight. They've also absolutely nailed the setup process. The SwitchBot Curtain is extremely easy to install and set up, and you can have this from the box to operational in just a matter of minutes. And I think the fact that they've made the process so easy is really going to help this product appeal to anyone. Also, especially given the fact that the app is so easy to use as well. At £70 to £140 depending on if you have a single or a double curtain, I actually think is a very good price given how polished the whole experience was. The only issue I ever ran into was 3 or 4 times during my testing that one curtain would occasionally close and the other wouldn't respond. However, toggling them again would cause them to get back in sync with each other, so it wasn't a big deal. And I think this may have been down to my Home Assistant instance being as far away from the curtains as possible, and the Bluetooth adapter is maybe just on the edge of the range. I didn't ever have this issue using the SwitchBot Curtain app, so it could just be a bug with the Home Assistant integration. The other thing I'd love to see them add is a native integration with Home Assistant through the hub and also the curtains directly. However, I can see they are well on their way to doing this given how open they appear to be being with their APIs, which is refreshing to see. If you're in the market for automated curtains, then the SwitchBot Curtain definitely gets my recommendation. I was genuinely surprised by my time with them, and I'm excited to see where the future of SwitchBot goes. But what do you guys think about the SwitchBot curtains? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. As always, I am genuinely interested in what your opinions are. If you're down there, while you're down there, make sure to hit that like button and get subscribed if you aren't already for more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching. As always, thank you for the support, as always, and I will see you in the next video. Pew!